That's not how it works.
It is
Yeah.
how it works.
Well, hold on. He's here. Greg, yeah, I need my vanilla spice chai in my Acme Labs Pinky the Brain Bug. Roiling boil water. Steep the tea bag for 3 minutes and 36 seconds specifically. Exactly. Sorry. And then half a cup of 2%. Thank you.
You put milk in your tea?
Yeah, doesn't everybody?
Fucking weirdo. Also, he's not gonna make it right. You called him Greg instead of Craig.
I called him Craig this time.
No, it's definitely Greg.
It was definitely Greg.
Well, whatever.
He hates that. But yeah,
we're gonna pay you a visit.
Yeah, he's gonna put some Bailey in a shoe.
I will say is that if you're not putting milk in your hot tea, you're drinking green tea, and green tea is not real tea.
Anyway,
them's fighting words. All right, we're the Grumpy Dungeon Masters. I'm Jay, joined with my co-host Christopher, Christian, and Dan. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello there.
I'm sorry, this liquid sugar you fucking Southerners call fucking sweet tea is an abomination, and you all should be burned at the stake for it.
That is fighting words,
there, buddy. You live in South Carolina.
Yeah, we just lost half of our audience off of that comment alone. Thanks, man.
Buddy.
Thanks.
I'll tell you what. Being from the north, I know how to make tea.
Yeah. Give me that.
No, I do have a very distinct memory. After I had lived down here for a while, I was going back up to Northern Ohio to visit family, and we stopped somewhere there. And without thinking anything, I just was like, "Oh, could I have a sweet tea?" And she just looked at me, and we're like, "What?"
No,
and like could not comprehend like what do you? I don't know what that is. Like just could not comprehend the idea of what this drink was. It was just completely baffled.
Mm-hmm.
So Christian, I have almost the exact same story in Ohio of all places. First time I'd ever driven to Ohio, and I stopped near the border in Ohio, and I asked Burger King or McDonald's or wherever it was for a sweet tea, and I get the response of, "What? Sweet tea? What? Sweet tea? You know, sugar in tea? Oh, we don't have that here. Oh God, what is wrong with this place?
Sweeteners over there."
Yeah,
the whole concept of that is very confusing to Northerners.
Yeah, they just gave me like cold tea and packets of sugar, and it was fucking terrible.
That's what you get. I got a similar thing, but it's not about tea. I was actually working at McDonald's when I was in high school. I was running the front register at this time. I ran everything at McDonald's, but I was running the front register at this time. And this kid, maybe about 12, 13, comes up to the register and goes, "Hey, yo, can I get a pop?" I was like, "What?" He's like, "A pop. Give me a pop." I was like, "You want me to hit you?" He's like, "No, a pop to drink." I was like, "I don't know what you're asking me for, kid." He's like, "Behind you, the Coca-Cola machine? Give me a pop." I was like, "Oh, you mean a Coke? Yeah, we got that. We got Coke. What kind of Coke do you want?" And he goes, "What?" It's like, "What kind of Coke do you want?" He goes, "I want Coke. I was like, "Okay, thank you." Jeez. And then I got him the Coke that he wanted. Because where I come from, everything is a Coke. It's like, "Hey, what do you want to drink?" "I want a Coke." "All right, what kind of Coke?" "Sprite." "Oh, hey, I want a Coke." "What kind of Coke?" "Sweet tea, unsweet tea, whatever it is." That's what you ask.
That's what it used to be in the South too. Not so much anymore. The pop thing though, that pop's like that's around Chicago and that area of the U.S.
But it was the "Hey yo, give me a pop" that has been burned into my mind. This little kid, I can still close my eyes and see him standing in front of me with his stupid blue jacket and blonde hair.
Well, hey, if he wanted to listen to the Grumpy Dungeon Masters, I bet you Christian could tell him where to find us.
Nice segue.
Nice segue. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or wherever else you get our podcast. You can also listen to us on YouTube, and you can find the Grumpy Dungeon Masters streaming on Twitch TV on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. We're right now playing Solasta Crown of the Magister. They're the mod for basically their version of the Temple of Elemental Evil. And on Saturdays, you can find Grumpy Dungeon Master Christopher streaming his D&D 5th edition campaign, Waterdeep Worldborn Dead.
Well, except for this last weekend where we had basically our anniversary stream. We've been doing
Yeah.
it now for 5 years.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, tell us about that stream.
Oh man, it was hilarious. So first off, when I initially
tell us
started,
what it is.
yeah. So when I initially started this idea, it was a module by James Hake, where he basically truncated down the Curse of Strahd campaign setting into a single night 4-hour one shot, where you just show up at Castle Ravenloft. You're getting all the tarot cards except for one right out of the gate. For you to basically find the locations of the items that you need, which are all in Strahd's castle. Find the person that's going to help you, who will tell you where Strahd's location is, and then you're supposed to go kill Strahd, and that seals him away for a year. And we've done it 5 times now. We've back-to-back years now have defeated Strahd. Yay! And mostly, I think it's because of Dan's intervention into the now 2-time back-to-back champion that he is.
He's beat Strahd in a fist fight twice.
Yeah, first time he ran him down with a horse. Second time, he bound him up in chains, and everyone punched the shit out of him.
He got blasted by a wizard.
Oh yeah, he did get blasted. I'll get to that specific in a second. So one of the rules that I have for this is that you're allowed to metagame any previous Strahd Must Die tonight encounters that you have played for this session. So initially it was just my players doing this Strahd, and year after year after year they were getting better and better and better. I think Christian, you played 1 year, but like DC'd halfway through. And Dan, you played, and that was like.
I played 1 year, and yeah, I DC'd. Like my computer literally died a heat death.
Oh no!
But then I played the next year, and I actually got to play all the way through.
Yeah, and I think that was the year you guys like encountered him and beat him, but didn't like slay him in his coffin. And then
we didn't do the right things because we just ran into him as almost like a random encounter someplace and just decided to throw down.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much how it is. It's like every year you're supposed to shuffle the deck, and it's cut a certain way so that his location is random, the items' locations are random, and you have a chance. You could run right into him right out of the gate in the chapel. You know, there's a possibility of that. So if you wanted to just throw down with him right then and there, you could. But you still have to collect all the items, get to his coffin, and then like stake him with the Sun Sword in order to, you know, actually win the campaign. And that was a year where like the cards seemed to line up perfectly, where all the items were like pretty much in like adjacent rooms from each other, and Strahd was in his tomb, in his actual coffin, and so it's really easy to kill him, and he immediately goes into his coffin and you can just stab him and kill him again. And that was Dan's first year. This year we had on Orthane Productions, we had on Dave Haddon and Marks. I don't know his full name. Just know him as Marks or Marks Brothers, but he's like the lead designer for the Kingdom of Keshnar and Orthane Productions. And he asked the question right out of the gate. It's like, hey, I haven't played this, but I ran this. So how does your meta rule apply for me? And I was like, well, technically, I said, as long as you know all your knowledge on previous Strahd Must Die Tonight playthroughs counts. So if you've DM'd it, that knowledge comes with. So you guys, Dan, you just started out of the gate knowing exactly, okay, we know pretty much the locations of these items. Let's just beeline straight there, avoid the encounters. And that's pretty much what happened for the first half of the night, right?
Yeah, I mean, we went in and I mean, you changed it up a little bit. Like the dragons right in the front entry hadn't respawned, but they were clearly dead. And we're like, they're definitely going to re-end as soon as we open this door, and they did. And we fought them for a second. I'm like, guys, we're wasting time. And I just kind of like, I grappled one of them and threw it outside and closed the doors. Then John did the same thing and closed the door as we're trying to usher Marks to get inside. And then we're like, okay, I think the sun sword's upstairs, and go upstairs, and you had a fake sun sword sitting in the chair, and you're like, this isn't the thing. I know it's not the thing because it's just a hilt. That's full sword.
So the funny part about that is, I didn't know that.
It's a lightsaber. It's a D&D
I
lightsaber.
I know it's a lightsaber, but I never actually read the description, so I thought it was more like the flaming sword,
Oh, that's
or
fantastic.
it was what it was, and then you have it on, and then it like glowed with radiant. And then I looked at the description when he had picked it up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah,
I was right." And then he put it beneath the chair.
yeah." That was all ad-lib from me on the spot, just trying to save face.
It worked. It worked out well. It worked out well.
Yeah, that's proper game mastering. Oh no,
There
I
it
messed
is.
up. Let's fix it.
But yeah, then we went from there, and I think we went to an adjacent room with, like, I guess the accountant or whatever the guy's name is. And we're like, "Hey, where's this thing? Hey, where's this thing?" He's like, "It's down there. I don't know anything about a bone chandelier." And we're like, "Okay, let's go to the basement." Wait a minute, isn't there a chapel over there? Wasn't there something about a priest? Okay, let's go there. And I don't know what was with the zombies in the upper tier of the chapel, but I just kind of kicked them off.
So the zombies are always there, in the Castle Strahd, and I basically had one be a guy that was wearing a green neon shirt with a happy face on it. And Jay, do you get that reference?
Say it again.
A man, in this case, it was a zombie wearing a green neon shirt with a happy face.
Oh yeah, no, I do get that reference.
Yeah. So that was a ring reference. The only thing that I really know about wrestling is that every pay-per-view I watch with my wife, there's some rich motherfucker, who I have to assume is a rich motherfucker, sitting center front row, like camera center. So he's always visible, and he always wears the same stupid green smiley face neon shirt.
He was there
every single pay-per-view.
Yeah, he was there last night.
So I threw him in because that just seemed appropriate. And the other guy was just a dude with the sign saying "You can't see me,"
which I conveniently missed.
Now explain why you were throwing in wrestling references for all of our audience.
I'm going to leave that to Dan.
So a long time ago, in the days of yore, in the days of 3rd edition, I was running a game. I think I was still in college, and or had maybe just gotten out of college. I was running a game. It was like a throwback game. It was basically running the Pool of Radiance D&D game from like the Gold Block series, which is then they wrote up a module called Ruins of Adventure. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But what happened was a couple of the characters got real goofy one night and decided to go just take a big dump on a clearly active evil altar. And their characters died. So the next session, without them telling me what they were playing, they just said, "Oh, well, yeah, characters, don't worry about it." I show up, and they were both playing monks. I'm like, okay, it's 3rd edition. Monks are okay, sure, why not? And they introduce themselves, and they are clearly playing the Harlem Heat. Booker T and Stevie Ray. And they played for the rest of the game as those two characters, which was fantastic. So it'd been 20 years. Chris needed a couple extra people to play the game because I guess regular players couldn't show. And I was like, you know what? I wanted to try out monks anyway, and called up my brother. He's like, "Hey, do you want to play Harlem Heat?" He's like, "Yeah, I do." All right, let's figure out how we're going to build these. And at first, I kind of toyed around with some of the stupid builds that are online with multi-classing and using weapon masteries. I'm like, I don't think I need to do any of this crap. Monks are just really good. And I settled on a Warrior of Mercy and a Warrior of the Elements. And it worked out well. Warrior of Mercy is, if you're not familiar with the subclass, they get a Hand of Harm and a Hand of Healing. Hand of Harm was not really terribly useful, considering we're going through going through a castle full of undead, and I don't think we fought anything that was not undead, actually. I think we had an option, maybe fighting a gargoyle, but either way, Hand of Harm does an extra D8 plus Wisdom modifier necrotic damage, and at the level we were, it would also poison the person, which is fine. It could be useful. But I picked it up I actually picked up the subclass because Hand of Healing was kind of nice. And when you hit, I think, level 6, you're allowed to use Hand of Healing interspersed with your Flurry of Blows. So, level 10, you have two attacks, base attacks as a monk, and then you have 3 extra attacks on a bonus action with your Flurry of Blows, and one of them can be a Hand of Healing. So literally in the final fight versus Strahd,
don't get ahead to that yet.
I ended up using it in the appropriate manner. But what I never used after building these characters was Stunning Strike, which kind of surprised me because ever since 3rd edition, Stunning Strike has been the ability that you use every combat, every round that you possibly can. And it never even occurred to me to use it because I had so many other options available. And I will say that if you're listening to this and you're thinking about playing a monk and you don't feel like playing an Asian style martial artist and you want to play a wrestler, you can really actually do that now in 5e, and it works out really, really well. Picking up the Tavern Brawler, so you can kind of push people around. And I never even remembered to do this, but you could also reroll one of your unarmed damage dice around if it rolls a 1. I picked up Grappler, which allows you to move full speed and auto grapple when you punch somebody to do damage once around. And I picked up a brand new feat called Street Justice from the new Forgotten Realms book, which came out, I think, the night before we played this. And I just have to read this one out to you, and you guys can tell me how you think it synergizes with a grapple build. +1, you have to be at least 4th level. +1 to strength or dex. Special abilities: Headlock. Your allies gain advantage on attack rolls against a creature grappled by you. So that's kind of throwback to, I guess, like 3rd edition, was anytime you grappled somebody, everybody would have advantage against, or not advantage, you'd have a bonus to hit them.
Yeah.
But because Grappler just gives you advantage to hurt the person that you're grappled. But also puts them down to a 0 speed. But this was the one that really sold me on it for kind of synergizing with a grapple build and a wrestling build. Sturdy Knot. When you use chains, manacles, rope to bind a creature, your proficiency bonus to the DC to escape or burst the chains, manacles, or rope are added to it. Then I was like, that's weird. I wonder how long it takes to do that, because I was just thinking to myself, like, God, this is probably like another action to do that. I'm never going to actually get that off. No, it's a utilize action to actually chain, manacle, or rope up somebody who's grappled by you.
Free action.
So basically a free action, because I'm a monk. I'm not drawing weapons or anything like that. I'm not doing anything else with my utilize. So one of the combats, I literally just it was a bunch of doors got kicked open, a bunch of ghouls come bursting out, and I'm going off to try to save our bard. And I start running by an open door, and I can't get by without trying to burn something in order to disengage. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to punch him once, grapple. Okay, I'm going to wrap him up in chains, Chris. And he's like, what? It's like, yeah, it's a DC 24 to burst out of the chains. He's like, okay. Then I keep on moving because he can't attack me back. Kept on going.
It's like a Jackie Chan fight scene where he uses fucking shoelaces to tie people up or something.
Yes, it really is.
Exactly. DC 24. Is it your monk save or whatever?
And
No, so chains require successful DC 20 athletics checks to break as an action, but if you have Street Justice, you add your proficiency modifier to all those difficulties. So 22 to slid out with acrobatics and 24 with athletics.
Wow.
Yeah.
So You know, if it would never work on a rogue or another monk because their acrobatics is going to be way too high. But even a fighter who's not like a champion fighter who's super athletic and expertise in athletics is not going to get out of that very quickly.
Correct.
Oh,
Um,
they will. They'll use their new. If they're high enough level, they have the second wind feature where you can add that to a skill check.
Okay.
we just put it this way: the monsters aren't built that way.
Yeah, the monsters though are not built that way. So
Right.
whenever I picked up the feat, I was like, you know what? I'll pick up 3 ropes, 2 chains, and a set of manacles. It might come in handy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it did because I just wanted to basically skip combats, and that just enabled us to do it because like I don't feel like fighting this crap. Wrap them up.
Yeah.
So the reason why you asked why everything was wrestling themed, and I said, well, basically I built the Harlem Heat. So, like I said, my brother was playing a Warrior of the Elements, and he was built very similarly, except he had, I think, rather than having Street Justice, because he didn't know about it whenever we were building the characters, he ended up getting trained in Wisdom saves. And he was also a grappler, but he was basically the Warrior of the Elements kind of benefit for grappling is that you can grapple somebody, I think, 10 or 15 feet away. So they can't actually hit you as you're holding them with essentially a grapple out of their reach, but you can continue to hit them as you're manifesting elements to basically punch them in the face with fire, thunder, air, whatever. And that's kind of useful. I mean, it never really. I think it came up once where it was actually useful when we were fighting through Curse of Strahd, because there was just so many combatants that it didn't really matter. It would be great against a single thing.
And we'll get there.
And the other, so God bless David and Marks for making relatively normal characters, whereas Aaron saw that we were playing the Harlem Heat and I guess scrapped whatever he was going to make and decided to make Gobby the Brain
Weeman.
Weeman. It was definitely not our manager. It's a goblin. And like you've got to see the token he made for Gobby. He has a wand of wonder shaped like a microphone.
Oh my god.
So yeah, he was basically our hype man who just kept on dropping bardic inspiration on us as we like he had an 11 AC or something like that, and we basically just kind of like dragged him around the map with us on our shoulders because another part of like whatchamacallit, the monk ability to move quickly. What is it? Step of the Wind. You can bring somebody with you with Step of the Wind, so I can dash with Step of the Wind with my base speed of freaking 65 with the monk or with the goblin on my shoulder, and we both can't be attacked as we're moving through and by enemies. It's just kind of flipping all over the place.
Yeah.
But the other part about why these guys why monks in 2024 are just so solid for making a wrestling style character. As you get up in level, by level 9, you have acrobatic movement. You can pull like some real, ninja scroll anime stuff where you can run across vertical surfaces and across liquids on your turn without falling during the movement. So long as you don't stop moving, you're running up a wall or you're running across water or whatever. So for example, to finish off one of these zombie red dragons, I put it in a headlock, ran up the ceiling, ran up the wall to the 20-foot ceiling, and then power bombed it into the ground. And I don't take any damage because I have slow fall, but it takes extra damage on its way down.
It was beautiful.
And because we were allowed to get 2 uncommon items, got the standard one, the wraps that give you +1 attack and damage, but the other one was Boots of Striding and Springing, which allows you to move full speed no matter how heavily encumbered you are. And once per round, you can jump up to 30 feet in any direction. So whenever the ceiling height was high enough, I also powerbombed somebody by just jumping 30 feet straight up in the air and coming right back down on them. Yeah. Do an extra 3d6 damage.
Yeah, seems perfect for a monk.
But yeah, it was a great game. It was a lot of fun, and I'll let Chris reveal who the Anarchist card was.
I'm gonna pick it back up at the chapel where we. So we had the zombies there, for the wrestling theme, and the group went to the chapel. They found the Raven amulet that they need to find. That's just in the keep, and all the items are going to the Warlock Paladin because no one else can really use the items.
Although we did have a brief discussion that
Yeah.
monks can technically use the Sunblade because it acts as a short sword and that is a monk weapon. But I was like, just let the paladin do it. I think
and so after that, they basically okay, if we go downstairs, that's where the tombs are. We can check it out. The last card said something about the tombs, so it's probably down there. So they go down, they explore around for a little bit. They find Strahd's tomb, they find Sergei's tomb. They're not finding exactly what they're looking for. The combat starts with the ghouls. I didn't actually change the tokens, so they were ghouls, but on my side, I changed them all to whites.
Man, that was a nasty surprise.
It was pretty good. It was the only real challenge I think for them the entire night.
Yeah. We were not a party built for many different combatants. We didn't really have that kind of crowd control.
Yeah. So once they fought the ghouls, they found the tome was in one of the ghouls had one of the tomes. And at that point in time of the night, it was getting close to 11. So they had like an hour-ish left, maybe 30 minutes left. I can't remember the specifics, but it was getting close. So Marks is like, okay, I'm gonna pull up my metagaming knowledge here. It's like, hey, can you bring us back to the ballroom where we're at the initial? I was like, okay, here, you're back at the ballroom. He's like, okay, I'm gonna open these double doors and go into the hallway. And Dan was like, no, sorry, that's a vestibule or whatever the hell you said.
Fucking, of course he did.
Mr. Architect over here.
It's a vestibule. Hey, listen, I gotta use my expensive ass education on something.
Right. And so Marks then goes up to the wall and goes, there's a secret door here. Can we open it? And I look at the map. I have the VTT. I'm like, there's no secret door there. So I open it up the module. It's like, oh shit, there's a secret door there. So I quickly swap around the walls, make it a secret door. And he walks up a little bit further and goes, there's a secret door here. I was like, shit, okay, I missed that one. So I put a secret door in there for there. He's like, okay, this will get us down to the bone room. And they go to the bone room, and because they wanted everything to move fast, I couldn't do the proper intro of having this person descend slowly from the ceiling on wires, as the person that they were supposed to find was Sting. Sting was the backup character in case someone had a miss. Dimitri, who watched all night, was gonna play Sting, so he built the Sting model, and I was like, you know what, I'm using this nonetheless. So
the model was great.
Yeah, I had Sting,
and for anyone listening, he means Sting the wrestler, not the musician.
Yeah.
So then they're like, okay, cool, we got everything. They asked Sting, how do we kill this Strahd? He's like, I don't know. This Strahd's different for somehow. He's not really real. He's not really alive. He's not really a vampire anymore. You got to kill him with fire, though. I know that much. So they're like, okay.
Where is
he? He's actually in his casket. He's actually in his casket, in his tomb. So
they
run all the way back
there. Stairs. Yeah.
So they're fast traveling around the castle. And they go to start the fight with Strahd. They begin the fight, and I had this time changed the stats of Strahd, as in I took all of Strahd's the Lord of the Death House rebuild of him and a Mummy Lord, and I smushed it together, basically doubling his stats, doubling his abilities, doubling everything. Took away all the resistances and just made him a mummy, because King of Keshinar. I had to do something mummy Egyptian themed, right?
Yeah, yep. You did actually have a bunch of bats turn into
sand,
desert sand or something like that we all accidentally breathed in, which was, I was like, that was a good hint. I was like, uh-oh. For terrorists at this point. Yeah.
So John was first with his monk, and he ran into the room, and he did that ranged grapple on Strahd. And the other thing about the build that you had with your monks is you were half giants, or you were Goliaths, and you were hill giants. So you could just say, "Hey, you over there in the corner, who I'm quote unquote adjacent to, because he's that monk with the 15-foot reach. Yeah, you're just prone because I say so. No
Well, he has
save.
to hit you too.
Well, yeah, but still, no real save or anything. Just you're prone. So
Yeah.
Strahd immediately from the get go was prone.
Yeah. Get sweep the
grappled.
leg. You sweep the leg to start.
Sweep the leg.
It was the elemental monk, so he was basically getting hit with fire damage. So that burned through all of his, bonus temp HP from the heart. I explained the heart shattered, and people were like, "Oh yeah, the heart. We forgot all about that." Oh well,
No, we actually mentioned that, and somebody had said, "Oh, I think the heart was destroyed last year, so I don't have to worry about that." I'm like, okay, it's a waste of time anyway.
Yeah, obviously. And so like he hit him down and took all the temp HP. I doubled up the temp HP. I went from like 50 to 100, and it was all gone because he was punching with fire. And Dave's and Mark's characters were pretty much Dave was playing a wizard, a blue blood wizard, and blue blood is in someone of rich upbringing, kind of blue blood, but it was a tiefling. And Mark is playing like his butler, chauffeur, bodyguard named Cloudsworth. And they were just hilarious the entire night. Just have to say that. They're just like, "Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll go over here. Oh, sir, get out of the way. You're about to get hit by a ghoul." "Sir, I'll jump in the way." It was fantastic, and I loved it. So I think Strahd went. I was able to like paralyze your brother, and then I think you went, and you basically grabbed Strahd, powerbombed him into his coffin, and at that point in time, like he was bloodied, I think. So I was like, okay, I have to at least have this go around.
Well, no, that wasn't even the end of my actions because we were to mention this earlier. So he actually managed to land the paralyze on my brother's character, and I was saying about the Warrior of Mercy. It's kind of like a paladin monk, because Hand of Healing, in addition to doing basically a cure light wounds whenever you hit somebody, it also level 6 removes the blinded, deafened, paralyzed, and poisoned and stunned conditions. And like I said, you can intersperse it with your flurry of blows. So it was first attack, grapple. Using my utilize action, I wrap him up in chains. Then I touch my brother, who is no longer paralyzed and heals D8 plus 4 hit points. And then I punch him 4 more times, and then 3 more times, then power bomb him. And then Chris uses his legendary action to teleport away, but he's still chained because the chains are on him.
Yep. Cloudsworth gets his round off and like does a searing smite. And because he hit the sun sword and all that, that's when the realization came in. Like, he's not being hurt by that at all. It's only going to be fire because he's a mummy. Aaron goes up, I think, after that. I'm also doing all his legendary actions after each turn. Yeah, just utterly meaningless. Didn't matter, really. And then Aaron basically drops Moonbeam onto Strahd, so there goes half of his kit to escape. So I can't do that anymore for a legendary reaction. And then one of the Watchers had enough channel points to redeem it for the critical, and basically gave it to anyone. So I gave it to Dave, and so I don't remember what spell Dave used.
I think it's Searing Smite.
Searing Smite. So he used Searing Smite, which was an auto crit, and he did 120 fire damage to Strahd, who only had like 10 hit points remaining at this point in time. And that was the end of Strahd with a minute left before 11. So, 2 years back.
Yeah, we speedrun the last few moments there for sure.
Yeah, got it in under the wire.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, I went back and I looked over that Streetwise with that utilize action. They went out of their way to basically put a bunch of shit into that utilize action, and I don't know. I feel like it's going to be just as important now as a bonus action, if not more important. More important.
I mean, that's the thing. That all the stuff that you can do in a utilize action, though, like you're limited to the amount of shit you can carry. Really, like I guess you could have a bag of holding filled with like a shitload of rope or something like that, but I don't know. Maybe it was a cute thing to do that seemed to synergize well with the build that I come up with,
Mm-hmm.
but unless you're making a grappler character, it's not going to happen.
I don't know. Like, man, I don't think I didn't make a single break out of any of those checks all night. I couldn't use any legendary.
Grappled several times.
I did resist being grappled once, and then I let it go through once, and that was my big mistake. But like, even if I did, most of the effects you guys were applying to me were not like things you could save from. It's just like, you are now this, no save required.
Yeah, and I think some of this is just always an issue in D&D and other games, but especially D&D with solo monsters. They just don't work. Even with legendary actions, it doesn't. The action economy always favors the players, and they don't work well. So that means next year, Chris, your theme's going to be Monster Squad.
Yep, for sure.
Strahd's gonna call his buddies.
Levels.
Yep. Gotta make sure you gotta watch the movie before you run it.
Yeah, a Frankenstein.
He's got nards.
Wolfman's got nards.
May or may not have nards.
And that's honestly what I should do for next year if I do one, is definitely set a theme, because this year it was kind of wrestling, and Dave and Works weren't in on that kind of joke, because like you guys did it and just Aaron followed through, and then I followed through.
I mean, we did it like the 10th hour too. So
yeah.
I mean,
but honestly,
we went into there not knowing what anybody else was playing. Like, fuck it, I'm going to play a monk. We're playing
but
wrestlers.
Honestly, because they were in character, so well, I just thought they were basically Triple H and his crew, when he was
that's fair.
His blue blood thing. So it just honestly it worked, So I think that next year I definitely have to set a theme right from the get go. Maybe it should be
I think you should.
Yeah. I like that idea.
The year before it was unofficially Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yep. Or you pick a new villain. We've done Strahd a bunch. Maybe it's time for Vecna Must Die, or Zastam Must Die, or you got all kinds of. You can take all the classic D&D big villains.
The best part is too, like, if I do that, I'm not going to change the location or the mission. It's still just going to be.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, we shouldn't. I mean, you already have it all plotted out there and planned.
Yeah,
so.
I already have it all plotted out. Yeah, you got to kill Strahd, and then you show up. It's like, no, sir, that's Cthulhu. That's a different villain.
Yeah. No, I think Monster Squad would be good. And you make all the characters like, all right, you guys, you gotta play like preteens. Everyone is a middle schooler or teenager.
Yes. And next time when they fight Strahd, he also has a werewolf with him and a flesh golem with him. And
yeah. Don't change the map at all. That's the best part.
Never adjust it.
Well, I guess I got to go back through and try to make sure I have all the secret doors located places.
Well, actually,
hey man, I was surprised too, and I ran that a few years ago as well. So I have.
I think you should change up the secret doors. Maybe even change the doors. You can change the layout a little just by messing with the walls a bit.
So Chris, I have the idea, if you do the Monster Squad, don't actually change up anything except the descriptions of the rooms, and you could make it like a fucking high school. Like one of the rooms, one of the large rooms, it's a basketball court with like a gymnasium.
There's a slam dunk contest going on. Fine.
That's awesome. No, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad you had fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. It's fun doing that every year.
I'm glad I was able to make it.
Yeah.
Although I totally was at a disadvantage because I was saying goodnight to my family and had my headphones off when you were explaining what the Taroka readings were. And when I think Mark's asked you to repeat it, you're like, nope. It's like, okay, let's just do it.
Excellent.
I have
We
no
don't
idea what's
understand.
happening.
That is the right answer. If they're not paying attention, nope. You guys go on what you got.
The best part is too is I think your brother John wrote them all down.
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, of course he did.
Just didn't tell
He had them all
him.
written down, and it's just like he said this. He's like, okay, and I'm like, damn it, I did say that. Shit. No, but
fantastic.
it was great, and I look forward
Yeah.
to doing it again.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
everybody,
the timed one shot had a real good just feel to it. It just
yeah.
we
It also
knew
it
what
worked,
we had to get done. It's not just a slog of going through fights.
yep.
you
It
know.
works out nicely because you know you're on a timer. You got
Yep.
until 11 o'clock to get it all done. And if you don't, you fail.
Yep.
And I do love fast travel. It's like, hey, bring us here real quick. Okay, you're here. All right, secret door here, secret door there. Let's go this way. But yeah, it was great. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Adventures League is going strong. 11 more players again. Can't remember what they did, honestly. It's been a heck of a week. I knew what they did was funny, and I enjoyed it. And there were a lot of hobgoblins involved.
Yeah,
Did
true.
Kennedy die again?
No, bugbears were involved this time, not hobgoblins.
No Kennedy death?
No Kennedy death, but one player. Oh, that's right. One player basically stuck in ahead of everybody because he was a bard and had a lot of good stealth, and he was going to go look in to see what the noises were. And he set up a trap that was basically a rolling log on a set of stairs. So he got smashed, and then the fight happened, and they're fighting everybody, and they're going through the rest of the dungeon, and there's another set of like double stairs now. The same description of them. Looks like something heavy's been pulled up and down them a lot. So he's looking for traps and tripwires because he, set the tripwire off. Moves 10 feet, does a check. Moves 10 feet, does a check. Moves 10 feet, does a check. Not finding a single thing. And then he walks very up at the very top, does his check. Still doesn't find anything. And then I go, okay, cool. You take one more step forward and you set the tripwire off and the lock falls again. And he's now permanently scared of things falling on him. I had him do like a madness check for that, and now he's
Is he Wile E. Coyote?
I guess so. So he's got that fear now of being crushed by a log.
I mean, that's a healthy fear to have.
I mean, yeah.
Yep. You never know when an anvil's going to fall out of the sky on you.
Yeah.
So the Kennedy wasn't there this week.
Oh, is that the only reason he didn't die? Okay.
That's the only reason he didn't die. But we did decide that in the corner, since there was like this eaten up humanoid, that was the one Kennedy that died along the way. So we did decide
skip
that.
Kennedy this week, yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's going good. And like I said, I'm not minding it as much now as I was with the wandering stuff because there's a lot of encounters in this area. And there's a lot of detail. The maps kind of interlink, and it's definitely a truncated version of the Caves of Chaos from the original box set. But I'm still really disappointed with the lack of exploration in this module. It's supposed to be a callback to that. This just doesn't seem to have it. The Caves of Chaos are working out well. I'm adding in other hints and breadcrumbs to other things that I have planned for afterwards. Like they found a map that was drawn by the bugbears, so like the equivalent of being drawn in crayon. And they
Are you tying it into other stuff that like the other older modules suggested, or like the rewrite of it?
I'm not going to say because I know the players listen to this podcast.
Oh,
yeah.
hey, you guys.
But I am drawing from multiple sources, both old and new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, that's everything I got, I think.
so,
I got some more stuff, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Dan, Christian, before Chris logged on earlier, we were talking about what are we going to talk about, and you mentioned that he would talk about the Ravenloft campaign, and my exact quote was, well, that'll take up at least 45 minutes of the podcast. We are at the exact 45 minute right now.
The
High
wait.
fives all around.
So good
Shocking.
job. Good job. Yep. So the other thing I wanted to talk about,
Wow.
not
So we know you very well. Yeah. It's fine.
yeah. So on my Facebook feed in all these D&D groups, and this image came across my feed, and it was a list of every Dungeons and Dragons campaign setting. And I say that sort of in quotes. And normally I would have just sort of shrugged at it. I'm like, oh, cool, Ravenloft, Greyhawk, Forgotten Realms, etc. But I actually saw 5 of them on there I had never heard of. So as I do, I start looking all of this stuff up. And I'm going to name the 5 that were on that image that I had never heard of. One was Pelennor, Ghostwalk, Dragon Fist, Jakondor, and Thunder Rift. And then we got to talking about it before we started the podcast. And then Dan,
Those were
you
80s
linked.
cartoons.
I mean, yeah, they sound like it. But you had linked the Wikipedia of all the D&D campaign settings, and there were a few more in there that were not on that image.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I'm going to talk about the 5 that were on there briefly that I had not ever really heard of, and then we can talk more in depth on, are these actually campaign settings, or and then some of the other ones that are not on that list. So we'll start with Pelennor, which I had not heard of. I don't know if any of you guys had.
That I know all about that. That's a bike you set up so you can pedal while you watch TV in your house.
Yeah. So Pelennor is a lesser-known D&D campaign setting that was developed by TSR's UK offices in its Imagine magazine.
I'm sorry, that's the orb that Saruman had that he looked into.
Yeah. Yep. That's definitely it. Can we mute him? Find a way to mute him.
Yeah, Greg, mute him.
Yeah, mute him, Greg.
Oh, my tea's here.
Oh, perfect.
That'll shut him up.
Go drink your milk. But Pelennor, I would call it an official TSR setting, but it was only in Imagine magazine. Like, there was never a box set, there was never a book. But in the same way that, like, Forgotten Realms came into being was through Dragon magazine, them writing articles of it. That's kind of how this operated. They just never.
I mean, the entire
product.
Fiend folio came from mostly Dragon and Imagine articles too. So.
Yeah, right.
Our White Dwarf.
White Dwarf.
Yeah.
Yep.
The UK
So I mean, the TSR UK office made a lot of cool stuff, but I mean, they broke with them and made a much more, I think, monetarily successful product called Warhammer.
Yeah. There's that. But apparently Pelennor was like a disc world, like a flat world. I haven't looked too greatly into it, but even after Imagine went out of business and they stopped writing articles on it, the fans of Pelennor put together a whole lot more stuff, and I managed to find a detailed, like a PDF of everything that was in Imagine magazine. On top of that, all of the other stuff that fans had compiled for it.
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wasn't it a like Arthurian sort of feel to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which makes sense. It's in the UK.
Yeah. I mean, it's the most readily accessible sort of mythology they can tap into.
Yep. Writing what they know.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
That and the
County of Serwyn became cairns and D&D modules. There's a series of unofficial D&D modules set in Pelennor with newly drawn maps and some renamed locations, such as the County of Cairn becomes cairns. Okay.
So the next one, we got to keep moving here because we're getting close towards an hour. We can go over that obviously, but the next one on the list was Ghostwalk, and I had actually seen the book several times before. It's a 3rd edition D&D book. I just assumed it was more supplemental material, more subclasses, prestige classes, more feats. So I just never really looked into it. But apparently, it's actually a D&D campaign setting. And Christian, you knew a little bit more about it than I did.
Yeah, I had heard about it, and I had looked through the book and decided this was not for me because it is basically a book that I think it was Monty Cook.
Yeah, it is. It's
Uh,
Monty Cook.
that was just basically a premise. It's, I guess, what I would call like a capsule game because it's entirely encompassed in this one book. This setting is just what happens if you want to play a character that has died, and so they made this whole like afterlife thing, and you're the deceased characters come back as some sort of quasi undead ghost spirits.
So
Kind
it's a
of
D&D take on Wraith the Oblivion.
Yeah.
sort of, yeah.
Yeah,
Except
that's
without all the like, someone send these guys a box of cookies because they're
That's actually
writing. They're writing for the crowd that hangs out in Hot Topics when they turn the light off.
that's actually one of the books that I bought when I was at GaryCon, but something very similar to that, which it's a setting that takes place once your characters died. It was like a heavy metal themed setting and whatnot.
nice. But yeah, that was one I was not familiar with. Next one on the list was Dragon Fist. This one, it's hard to find actual information on this. It was first introduced in 1999. So it is a 2E product, and it was only ever online. From my understanding, it was on WotC's website, and there's no physical books of it, nothing of that nature. But it was a campaign setting that people in WotC were working on, and it's Chinese folklore, wuxia style kung fu movie setting. But it was interesting because they took a lot of the 2E rules, like the second edition rules and third edition rules, and combined them. So certain things from 2E were in it, but it used like the armor class system from third edition. So I'm not sure why it died
So
out or why they never did anything with it.
I got an idea on that. So the writer of it is a guy named Chris Pramis. Have you ever heard of him?
I have not.
He was the founder of Green Ronin Publishing, and he also wrote Dragon Age, or the RPG.
Okay, that's right. I did
And he
when
also
I
writes for Warhammer Fantasy Role Playing.
That's right. I did see something about they actually sold it to Green Ronin, so that would
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like he probably just split from WotC almost as soon as that Dragon Fist got published, and it only ended up getting published online with just PDFs. That's it. It's just an
Yeah.
AD&D variation released in 1999, essentially when they were, working double time to try to get 3.0 out the door. So I guess it really didn't matter.
Yep.
And he also apparently designed the 2001 re-release of Chainmail. So
Oh, okay.
that's interesting.
Neat.
So yeah,
Uh,
pretty serious designer actually. He's got
yeah. I mean,
a
yeah,
hell of, he's got a hell of a portfolio.
yeah. I mean, if he did Dragon Age, he's
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What's the next one?
The next one was Thunder Rift. Not a whole lot on this, but there is an actual physical product of it. It's a 32-page source book for Dungeons and Dragons Basic, released in 1992.
Was
And
that the one that came with it? The one that came with the set or something?
I don't think so. I think it's its own book. I haven't looked it up, but it's designed for beginning dungeon masters and players, uh, and it's almost like a beginner set, But Thunder Rift is a setting where you can kind of build off of it. It's teaching you the basics of D&D, and here's your setting, and this is how you can expand on it. Uh, I haven't looked too deeply into it. Like, there's just a D&D fandom wiki article on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was a thing for me. It's by Colin McComb, I think, wrote that.
Yeah, that's the name on it. Yep. I
Yeah,
don't know who
yeah,
that. I
this
don't
was
know
a
who he is, but
Yeah, this was to use. You could use it with basic or with the rule cyclopedia. Um, yeah, and it was supposed to be this is how you intro to dungeon mastering.
Yep. Yeah, out of all the ones that I'm talking about here, I think it's the least of a campaign setting. It's really
Yeah,
It's more of a unique single serving setting that once you've run it, you're moving on to something else, or you can insert it into any given world.
right, and you could literally say that about nearly every module that doesn't have the words Greyhawk or Forgotten Realms or Dragonlance
Right,
in them.
right.
They're single serve. This is the setting you're running, and if you want to insert it somewhere, go right ahead.
Yeah.
The last one that I was not familiar with was Jakondor, the Island of War. And it's apparently from the Odyssey series, second edition D&D. And I'm familiar with the Odyssey series because that's where Red Steel was from. That was Savage Coast. So those were like the more popular ones from the Odyssey series. And then there was also Jakondor, where there's 3 different books released from it. I had the names pulled up. Oh yeah, Isle of Destiny and Land of Legend were the other 2 books, and it's basically barbarians versus necromancers on an island.
That's fun.
Yep. I mean, it got a really good reception. Apparently,
I'm not
like
surprised. It was written by Jeff Grubb, and he's usually pretty great. I mean,
yeah, yeah, and apparently he was supposed to write an actual novel about it, but that never got released, from my understanding. Um, so let's take a look at the wiki that you had posted, Dan, because you said there were a few of them in there that were
yeah.
not
So
on
there's a
that
few of them
list.
in there that are counted as quote unquote official settings. And I'll just skim through these real quick here because that art that the photo that you linked, a lot of those quote unquote settings they include in there are like just kind of sub settings of the Forgotten Realms. Like
Yeah.
quite a few of them. But let's just go for unique stuff. I'm going to list them off. I'm not going to explain everything because some of them should be obvious. Birthright, obvious.
Mhm.
Blackmoor. One that was not in there is Conan and Red Sonja. And there's a couple of modules in there. They were released to coincide with the release of Conan the Destroyer, Arnold's movie. And then Red Sonja, I think, came out the next year. And then they started. I think TSR had some sort of marketing deal with Marvel, and they were basically trying to adapt, I guess, Marvel superheroes RPG system to D&D with Red Sonja. I'm not sure it really went anywhere, but it included a full 2-page setting overview of the Hyborian world, which basically just covers all of that, including history, geography, people, technology, etc. But also
Mhm.
included stuff that was unique to the setting, such as fear factor, luck points, and quick non-magical healing. Because if you ever read Conan, they're gonna get
Yeah.
healed.
Yeah, there's not magical healing, not quickly at least.
Chris, maybe you can talk about this one because I never really read through it other than just to check out the cool pictures and the lore in it. But Council of Worms as a separate setting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Council of Worms was its own thing on the Blood Island chain where you were to play dragons, and it had the 3 families of dragons: metallic, chromatic, and gem dragons. And that it was dragons and dragon politics, where you would start. It was supposed to happen kind of over like generations. Like you would start as a hatchling, and then there were times where you would slumber, and you had a familiar, which is basically a normal adventurer, but it was almost always either like an elf or a dwarf or a gnome, because you would want a long-lived species so that you didn't go
Right.
through your familiars as often.
And I recall reading before Council of Worms came out. I think that somebody posited this sort of thing in Dragon Magazine, in one of the yearly issues on dragons. Because I feel like I've read this before, or maybe even you've talked about it, that it was the same thing in this setting.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. Then we got Dark Sun, which obviously drew heavy inspiration from Dune and Barsoom series, psionics being a dominant aspect. Totally, they're not going to remake that for 5e 2024 because that would
With
be
that
a
evil
full
army.
party. So yeah, actually, this one is kind of interesting. I remember seeing it in the store once a long time ago, but I've never actually seen it since. Diablo 2.
Mhm.
So when Diablo 2 came out, a pen and paper adaptation of Diablo 2 came out for AD&D Second Edition, and then it also came out for Third Edition. Second edition products include Bloodstone Tomb, D&D Diablo 2 Fast Play game in '99, and then D&D Adventure game Diablo 2 Edition box set in 2000, The Awakening and Another Adventure, and Diablo 2 miniatures. Oh man, that's sweet.
Yeah,
And the
Yeah,
third edition.
super expensive on eBay.
yeah,
Oh, I
I've
bet.
I have sold copies of the third edition stuff, and yes, it's very pricey.
Yeah, third edition's Diablo 2 to Hell and Back adventure, and its web enhancement, the secret cow level.
Nice.
And then we got Dragon Fist, which we talked about, Dragonlance, which we talked about. The sub setting under Dragonlance is Time of the Dragon, which
It's
is
just different
interesting.
ages.
Well, no, actually, it's not. Not necessarily. It's a different continent. It's the
Oh,
continent
right.
of Talatus, where you have basically the nation of Minotaurs modeled on the Roman Empire, with an
Mhm.
imperial family, senate, gladiatorial games, and it's not written by Weiss and Hickman. It's written by Zeb Cook. So I'd never actually played in that. I actually in a game that just drew from all the different worlds. I ended up playing one of those minotaurs who never made it back to his home. But I've never actually read Time of the Dragon. Might be
Yeah.
worthwhile to take a look at. It sounds pretty cool.
I've seen the box set. I didn't realize. I just assumed it was a different time period. Neat.
Yeah. And basically it says that, that the Time of the Dragon essentially essentially had nothing to do with the whole Dragonlance saga. I mean, it just
Yeah.
happens to take place in the same world.
Yep.
Eberron, which honestly, one of the few legit 21st century new settings, other than some of these other ones that are about to come up, which are more related to, I guess, live plays, which is
Yeah.
Exandria, Critical Role, Forgotten Realms, which the subheadings, Al Qadim, which is obviously the 1001 Nights style Arabian mythology, Arcane Age, which is taking place in the distant past with ridiculously 10th and 9th or 11th and 12th level spells and stuff like that. The Horde, which is kind of their Mongol theme, Karatur, which is more Eastern and South Asian, and I think it really kind of coincided with the Oriental Avengers books published in the 80s.
Yep.
I've never actually read this one, but Malatra, the Living Jungle.
So I was just reading through here. There's no physical product for this. It was released via.
Oh, and Polyhedron. Okay.
Yeah, it was used for
RPGA. Then.
yeah, RPGA tournament play.
Okay, that makes more sense. This way, I've never heard of it. Mastika, which is, I guess, the Mesoamerican pre-Columbian Faerun.
Yep.
And as of the 4th edition D&D, Mastika was no longer on Toro, but had shifted beer. The 5th edition of the game reinstated the 3rd edition geography, however.
Yeah, that's where Tomb of Annihilation was at, over there.
The fuck is a
Oh.
beer?
I'm not going to get into it. It's the whole separation of the worlds, and
Lord.
yeah.
It's okay.
It's deep Forgotten Realms history in your Forgotten Realms Wikipedia page.
That's my deep dive for later.
Yeah.
You'll-
Greyhawk, obviously, and Jakandor, which we already talked about. Kingdoms of Kalamar, which Jay, you said you had some experience with. I remember finding it for the first time when I was in grad school, and I went to a game store up there, and I saw the book. I picked it up. I think I never actually bought it, but I bought like a map book for it, and it's like, hey, it's pretty nice looking maps. And never really thought about it again. But yeah, it's by the guys who wrote Knights of the
Dinner Table. It's Kinzer and Company who make Hackmaster these days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No longer officially supported by Watsby, but during 3rd edition it was. Lankmar, which is now actually held by, as I said, for Dungeon Crawl Classics by Goodman Games, but it originally came out in 1st edition D&D. And that's obviously based on Fafford and the Grey Mounts by Fritz Lieber.
Yeah.
more recently is the Magic the Gathering planes: Ravnica, Theros, Strixhaven, and apparently, according to WotC, they're going to do other ones, which I'm not really familiar with much else. But
that was in 2020, according
You-
to the wiki. So
you-
maybe
yeah.
You did skip over something.
Oh,
we did.
Kind of a subsetting of Ravenloft, sort of, was Mask of the Red Death.
I haven't gotten
Oh.
to Ravenloft yet.
Yeah, we haven't got to Ravenloft yet.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we're still up at Magic. Wait a minute. Mahasarpa? I can't say this. I'm sorry.
That's the
Yeah.
one that was attached. That yeah.
It's the third edition version of Oriental Adventures. It's by James Wyatt.
Yep. It was a free web thing, so
Yeah.
no official books or anything.
Then we have Mystara with the sub settings of Hollow World, Red Steel, Savage Coast, Thunder Rift. Nentir Vale.
That's 4E. Chris
Fourth
knows
edition
all about that.
nonsense.
Was that
Yep.
was that only online, or what was that?
That
No,
was so with fourth edition. They didn't do Forgotten Realms at first. It was the Nentir Vale, which was
Mhm.
Crawford's home setting.
Okay.
And pretty much it's just Forgotten Realms, but in a different thing. It's also called Points of Light. And the main player handbooks, as you kind of go through there, all take place in an Nentir Vale. You start off in Fallcrest, big city. And as you travel through that realms and whatnot, you uncover Orcus is the evil threat. You go down there and kill Orcus, and that's pretty much the campaign as it takes place. Honestly, it's just another different fantasy setting. So if you're, somehow bored of Forgotten Realms, I mean, it exists. The monster books are unique. Like Warforged are there, but they're like an ancient army that basically rusted over and still exists, but kind of just go through battlefields and take cadavers of humans and whatnot and kind of stack it on. They're just blood and gore and stuff. It's where all like the Duragar, because Asmodeus controls them, they all have fire
flame
quills.
beards. Yes.
Yeah, things like that. So it's a different spin on Forgotten Realms. Just
It's
little
not necessarily
different.
Forgotten Realms. It's just a variant of what I would call kitchen sink fantasy setting.
Yeah, it's your homebrew, like whatever fits the setting.
I throw in
But-
all the stuff. It's not.
But if
I
all
throw
the
in everything.
settings, but if all the settings that have been discussed, all right, it was actually an official WotC Twitch stream, full campaign and everything for a number of years. So it had some popularity.
with people who like fourth edition. So moving on.
No, Crawford ran it in fifth.
Did he?
Oh.
Moving on.
Yeah, it was just
Anyway.
not ever published or anything, and he updated
Good.
it all and all that.
All right. Next up, we got Pelennor, which we just talked about. Planescape, which
Yes.
Christian's talked about for a while.
Never
Obviously,
heard of it.
came out during second edition with Victorian era trappings and pseudo steampunk design. What?
Nerd.
Appeared in third edition only in the Planar Handbook and the Epic Level Handbook, and in fourth edition in the Dungeon Master's Guide 2, and also in the fifth edition Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're considering journeys through the Radiant Citadel, i.e., the Radiant Citadel and the Ethereal Plane, as a setting itself.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I saw this one on here and I'm like, that's not a setting. That's, from my understanding, that's just a whole bunch of modules that you can run through.
That's how the book is presented, but the Ethereal Citadel itself is its own campaign world that exists.
It's
Much
I
like
mean,
all these other ones.
I consider that more of part like of a subheading of Planescape, because it's in the Ethereal
Yeah.
Plane. You can get there from Sigil,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was literally my
it's much
thought.
it's as much its own campaign world as like Asgard or something like that.
Yeah, it's not really, considering they reference some of the factions of Sigil, and like it's clearly a part of the planes. So yeah.
Ravenloft, which we've we talked extensively about just this
for
podcast.
45 minutes tonight, yes.
So Ravenloft obviously came out with i6 Ravenloft in '83 by TSR. Then we got the second version of Ravenloft, which we're not going to talk about. not the second edition, but I mean like the sequel to Ravenloft i6, which was terrible. In 1990, they came out with Realm of Terror box set, and then White Wolf Publishing and Sword and Sorcery Studios eventually came out with it for third edition. And then there's a Castle Ravenloft board game, and then eventually, obviously, Curse of Strahd and Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. And
Which
Christian,
real-
you wanted me to mention Mask of the Red Death.
Yeah, Mask of the Red Death was set. It was kind of advertised as a sort of spin-off to Ravenloft, but it's set in 1890s Earth, Gothic Earth.
Oh no.
Gas Lamp Fantasy.
Yeah,
Which,
and it
in
is.
my mind, is more in line with like a Call of Cthulhu setting than
That's what this was their
Ravenloft.
answer to. This was kind of their version of Call of Cthulhu. There's weird stuff going on, but not everyone is equipped to deal with it, and you are characters that are aware of the weird stuff and are going to investigate and do something. So this was their kind of. It just had a little more of a. It was less cosmic horror and more gothic horror. Less creatures from beyond the stars and more like, hey, there are actually vampires and werewolves, and there are weird psychics preying on people, and there is like there's a legit necromancer over in that old European castle, and so
and they
it was
didn't roll that into the Domains of Dread.
no, because it was really meant to be like set in a kind of gothic Victorian Earth, like you played characters with gunpowder, you played different kinds of characters, not standard fighter. They had like a psychic, like an investigator, like a sharpshooter kind of guy. Like you were mostly cavalrymen, journalists.
A little weird.
It
Next
was a
up
weird thing.
is Rokugan, which apparently it's the setting for Legend of the Five Rings, which was included in the third edition version of Oriental Adventures.
So, Legend of the Five Rings originally was its own game. Then third edition came out, and I guess they worked with WotC to release the Rokugan setting, which was the Oriental Adventure setting for third edition. And then after that was over with, they just went back to making L5R. So,
Yeah. And L5R was real popular back in the 90s because I remember it being a card game, and
yeah.
I never actually played Oriental Adventures or anything like that in third edition, so I had no
So
idea that
it was
actually crossed over.
It was real fascinating stuff, the way that they were doing it. I don't remember the company who was making it initially, AEG. So they had their L5R card game tournaments, and those tournaments would actually inspire the direction of the role-playing game. So if if the world champion played like a lion clan deck and won the whole tournament, that might actually come around when they were writing the role-playing game and the novels.
That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was a big fan of all that stuff. I have pretty much all of the D&D the Legend of the Five Rings stuff sitting on my shelf here.
It reminds me of Defiance. Remember? You guys remember that TV show?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've talked about that on here before. How they did that.
And then the last two we have Spelljammer, which we've talked about a couple of times on here.
Never heard.
And the last one is surprising to me. Warcraft. Apparently, for third edition, WotC licensed D&D to White Wolf Publishing and Sword and Sorcery Studios to make a Warcraft campaign setting book.
I have the book. Yeah. So does Chris.
Yeah. Okay.
Chris
he sent me his extra copies.
Wow, nice.
No, I sent you the copies I had, and then I found another copy.
Oh, okay.
I will say there's one on here. There is one that is not in this list that I own a book of, and that's EverQuest.
There's an EverQuest D&D book?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was third edition. There were several books.
You got to tell my brother, man. He loves
EverQuest. Is it actually a WotC one, or is it one that's based off? Because in third edition, that's where they kind of did the OGL, where you could make compatible D20 products.
Let me look.
While you're looking, what was
it's sword and sorcery, so I guess technically it's not.
Well, so I mean, some of the stuff that's listed, a lot of the stuff from Sword and Sorcery is actually officially licensed.
Yeah, it's officially licensed, but it's via Sword and Sorcery.
Is it listed as the EverQuest role-playing game?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What was the list of that you have for the Magic the Gathering again?
Yeah, because Sword and Sorcery
It was
was
the 3
owned
books
by
they've
White
released.
Wolf.
Because
Yeah.
there's more than that.
It was just what they used to make D20
supposed to-
games.
No, there's not, Chris. Let's see. There's Ravnica, Theros, and Strixhaven. They've released some online stuff, but those
Yeah.
are the only books they've released.
Well, we were covering online stuff every now and then too, because they
Yeah.
release most of them online.
Yeah.
Like Zendikar, it has an online supplement, and a few others
So
do too.
for a little while, and I think it was James Wyatt, but I could be wrong. Somebody was kind of doing, and it was just him doing it on his own. Of like, I like Magic, but I also like D&D, and so he was writing a series of articles, I think, for Unearthed Arcana, but he called them Plane Shift, and it was just him taking a world from Magic the Gathering and saying, I'm going to write up what it would be like if it was in D&D. And they were usually
Yeah.
short, like 16 to pages or so of material, and a lot of it was just kind of like how you can use. There were some like new monsters and some new like subclasses and stuff, but a lot of it was just like, here's how you could reflavor existing D&D stuff in this world.
Yeah. So between 2016 and 2018, 6 plane shift articles were released: Amonkhet, Dominaria, Innistrad, Ixalan, Kaladesh, and Zendikar.
Yeah, because Amonkhet was like the only Egyptian one that I could think of for a long time until Kingdom of Keshar came along.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. All right. Well, anybody else have anything to add before we wrap this podcast up?
How long have you been going?
We're over an hour. I don't know exactly.
Well, let me know
Do we have
exactly.
time for psionics?
It stops telling me at an hour.
Okay. Well, I just want to go over something real quick then. 5-10 minutes. Your 5-10 minutes. I was going through some of the books that I got from Dan, and I got a whole podcast for those. But I want to bring up something that I found specifically in the campaign guide to Undermountain. All right. It is a magic item.
Oh.
And if I gave you 1,000 guesses, you could not guess this magic item or what it's made for, ever. While I'm finding it, take one quick guess each.
It's a magic ring.
No.
Cock ring.
It's one of the Wizard's Apprentice rings that allows you to bypass all the traps and protections of Undermountain.
No.
It's
Christian?
a scepter.
No. You guys ready for this?
Yes.
Sure.
The Beholder Mouthpick.
I remember that.
For all their formidable might, the Eye Tyrants cannot accomplish the simple task of picking up a stick without some aid. To circumvent their lack of appendages and limbs, Beholders sometimes use mouth picks or tongue arms to manipulate items. They are nothing more than reaching aids, often articulated and of metal, held in each Eye Tyrant's mouth. They are manipulated with lips, tongues, and teeth in a manner akin to the human pipe smoker moving a pipe around in his mouth to move, trigger, or carry items that the beholder would rather not carry in its mouth to spit out later. Mouthpicks may be improvised from wooden masts, tree trunks, or spars in a pinch, but beholders prefer to use more sophisticated specimens, generally made of metal, which may end in spikes, 1d6 points of damage, scraping or cupping flanges, shovel bowls, or pincer-like arms. Many beholder mouthpicks have many branched ends, incorporating all of these control devices and more. Mouthpicks save against attack froms according to the material that they are constructed from. Severing one or shattering a grasping attachment usually requires a character to inflict at least 12 points of damage. Beholders set such mouthpicks between their teeth and can withdraw lip and tongue pressure in an instant, so an attack that rams a mouthpick back into the beholder's mouth only does 1d6 points of damage as the mouthpick strikes the bony interior plates which protect its internal organs of every beholder. Magical picks. Several types of magical mouthpicks have been reported. One known and still to exist in Undermountain its value given in parentheses above is described here. A fang pick of electrum-plated stainless steel worth about 20 gold pieces for its metal content. This 12-foot-long shaft ends in a rake or scythe-shaped arc of metal, set with many long curved metal teeth. This metal arc grazes opponents for damage. Skipping all that. The pick automatically closes its arc in a bite, allowing the toothed scythe to wrap around the victims and inflict damage, and hold him or her immobile for a round. These actions are purely mechanical, operating for any wielder of the item. Grooves in the base of the pick contain tiny contacts akin to buttons on a rod of lordly might. If manipulated by tongue or fingers of a skilled user, these contacts activate the pick's power, which can be used 3 times a day to paralyze any being struck. A fang pick will levitate whenever released by a being to hang motionless in the midair until grasped or disturbed. Blah, blah, blah. The name of the inventor of this magical pick is lost to the ages. Presumably his invention has limited use for normal beholders, as their anti-magic ray negates any magical functions of the item. Any magical beholder mouthpicks can only be functioned by beholderkin, which do not have an anti-magic field. And the one that uses that one that I just read off doesn't have an anti-ray eye because he's called Old No Eye or some shit like that. He got his eye poked out.
So they've made this pick that they can carry around in their mouth to pick things up with or fight with. Why?
It's just a grabby arm.
They have they have a telekinetic ray.
It's a grabby arm, man. What if that eye stuff gets cut out?
My question is this: why did it take like a page and a half of fucking words to say I got a grabby arm? What the fuck?
Honestly, I've been reading some of Ed's works, and it's all like that. And
yeah.
I remember him complaining about that too. He's like, half my words are on the cutting room floor. And now I'm thinking,
and they should be.
They probably should be.
You need an editor. Yeah. Listen, everybody needs an editor, all right? Everyone needs somebody else to look over their work. That includes everyone.
So I love the fact that it was so long describing this, and
It's a grabby arm.
Yeah, it's just a grabby arm when you don't even need one because you have a fucking telekinetic ray or minions if you lose that. So.
And the best part is like these magical beholder mouthpicks don't work if you're a normal beholder because you can't see what you're looking at because then you deactivate the mechanical arm.
Oh my god.
I love it.
All right. Anyway, all right. Let's go ahead and talk about psionics.